Hi there, and welcome to the latest episode of Conversations with Katherine. My name is Katherine Tatsuda, and I am very, very happy to be standing here today with one of my favorite people. This is my friend AJ Pierce, and AJ is a Borough Assembly person and recently appointed as the Vice Mayor for the Ketchikan Borough Assembly. Yes. Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I just learned that news minutes before the camera started, so that's amazing.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So we're going to spend some time today with AJ, and we're going to learn about what it's like to be a Borough Assembly person and a Vice Mayor. But really, AJ does that in her spare time. She does a lot of things, actually. And one of the things that she does that I think is really, really special is she owns a very unique shop here in Ketchikan, which is an art studio called Vibrance.
And space.
It's a little maker space. It's a creative space for people to come in and create beautiful pieces of artwork. So we're going to spend some time today in her shop. I've been here a couple of times. I've never done any crafting because crafting's not my thing. Probably say that a lot today.
We're going to change that.
Yeah, I'm excited because it needs to happen. Awesome. Should we go inside and check it out? Let's. Awesome. Thank you for having us today.
I am really excited for you to be here.
I know, it's changed so much from the first couple times that I was in.
A little tiny boutique to something completely different.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Thank you so much.
I love it. So I just think your space here is fantastic.
Thank you, Katherine.
It's phenomenal because like I said earlier, I was a part of those conversations with you when you just had the idea. You wanted to create a space, that you had this vision for something that Ketchikan didn't have.
Yes.
And I love that you've been able to create it, that it's grown into something so special, that you have people who come and teach classes for you, you have people who come to the classes to learn and have produced all of this magical things, and you make it so accessible to people, and you say, you can just stop in if you're a mom with little kids. She has little boxes full of toys and crayons and everything. So you really do. You really make it accessible.
Thank
you. Yeah, I love it.
I'm really looking forward to the winter months, actually. You might not be a Ketchikanite and say those things.
Right.
But, there's more of a consistent flow of folks, those who weather the storm in the winter. They often look for things to do in town. And, you might hear from time to time that there is nothing to do here in the winter, but I don't believe that.
Right.
I really don't. There are so many year-round businesses that we just might not recognize, but there's a lot that goes on in town in the winter.
Absolutely.
We're not a dead town.
No, we're absolutely not a dead town, and this is just one example of what's possible and what there is to do.
Right.
Yeah. So let's talk about, you mentioned you are an entrepreneur. You have this business. You also have a business consulting business, correct?
Which was before I even started Vibrance by almost a year.
Right, absolutely. And you're also on the Borough Assembly.
Yes.
Yeah, and I remember talking to you, several years ago, and I didn't really know you.
Nope.
You spent some time here growing up,
yes.
Right?
Four generations deep.
Okay,
yes.
Yeah, and then you left for a while.
Because my father is in the Coast Guard.
Okay.
Yep, and so I was about 11 years old, and we were restationed in North Carolina because my dad got stationed over to finish out his 20 years.
Okay.
And so that pulled us, from Ketchikan, and I had grown up and gone to high school and gone to automotive school, gone to college, and met my first husband there.
Okay.
And then came back in 2015.
2015.
Yep.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Where my daughter now is 12 years old at that time, and a single parent.
Yeah, absolutely. So you came back in 2015, and then when did you run for Borough Assembly?
Sure, I ran in 2017.
2017,
yes.
Okay. Because that was when and like we had crossed paths a couple of times, but
just
a few. But I remember we were volunteering for a First City Players
yes,
event.
It was Devo and Divos.
Yeah,
and we were working in the back.
We were working in the kitchen,
yes,
right? Yeah.
Peeling potatoes.
We were peeling potatoes over the sink,
yep.
yeah, or the garbage can, and you were really thinking about running for Borough Assembly,
yes.
and yeah.
And I had known that you were a pillar in the community, and for me to be able to learn, you know, a perspective from someone on how one could help the community was really a groundbreaking conversation for me, because I was so full of fear.
Yeah.
And you remember,
I
was so full of fear because I really didn't quite know what I was getting myself into. You know, but I knew that I had this sense of purpose, of draw to serve the community in a bigger way.
Right.
And I didn't quite know what that looked like yet.
Yeah.
You know, but when we were peeling potatoes and I was really listening to your heart and to your perspective on, you know, what the community really needs in this day and age, I really had a sense of clarity that if I was to run and to serve this community, you know, in the office, that I would do my best to do those things.
Absolutely.
And so now I am in year 2 of my 3-year term.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got one more year left.
One more year.
October of 2020 is when I'll come up. And whether that will be a re-election or a shifting of gears is yet to be known. I'm not quite sure yet.
Yeah. So what has your experience been like being a public servant and being on the Borough Assembly and being a part of the process?
Sure. Well, one might not know that I'm actually an introvert.
Yeah.
And
so am I, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Conversations with Katherine.
I know. I can sit here. We can have great conversations. We can talk. But if you get me, and I get really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it takes a lot out of me. You know. And so it was part of my apprehension, because putting your neck out there, right? Being vulnerable, right?
Right.
Those are all very scary things.
Those are very scary.
Right. So there has to be some kind of fuel behind the fire, you know, and I'm just super passionate to see a better community, period. Yeah. And I remember when I left, when my dad was restationed, and this was like 1991, okay? And when I came back in 2015, there wasn't a whole lot of things that had changed, you know, but you see a level of suppression in a way where could be growth, easy growth,
right? You
know, and so that's where the service steps in, and I just want to be a helpful person to the body, you know, and so there's been a lot of initiatives that have been going through the Borough Assembly in the past few years. Some old footballs, we'll call them, like the roadless rule.
Right.
That's, you know, 24 to 27 years old.
Right.
And we are just now on the cuff of
that changing. I just
read
an article today about that.
The president has just signed something in consideration of exempting the state of Alaska in that. And, you know, we have a balance of the scales. You know, as we do in politics, there's folks that want and folks that don't. So where's that happy medium, right? And so that's the work that I enjoy, because I sit down like we're doing right now, and I get folks here in the shop, and we sit down and really talk about their needs and their wants for this community. And I, as their linebacker, and they as my constituent, you know, I go and I sit down with staff and I talk to them on what has been done, where's the history, what's the science behind what happened 40 years ago, and why are we still adhering to that science when so much has changed in just the last 10 years.
Right.
So that is what really keeps me going.
Nice.
Because there's so much between, you know, air and opportunity, I feel, in this community. There's so much that has not been tapped, you know, and as we have a major increase in tourists that come here to this community, we have to, figure out how we're going to mold and meld around that.
Right, absolutely. And I know that's a big issue for a lot of locals. There's a lot of concern with that. There's a lot of concern with, with responsible growth, but also and opportunities for locals and putting all of our eggs in one basket. So I know that it's not an easy place to be, being on the Borough Assembly or on the City Council and putting yourself out there. Is you just open yourself up to criticism and all sorts of things. So thank you for putting yourself out there. Thank you for trying. Thank you for creating this beautiful space for us. And now you're going to teach me how to craft, I think, right?
I am.
Which is really what I'm here for.
It is. We're going to convert you.
We are. My life is going to be changed.
It'll be fun.
I'm excited. So now the fun part.
That's what I say. Yes.
Okay, so we have these beautiful wine bottles.
Yes.
Yes, we talked a little bit about those earlier. And we have a giant bottle.
Because I figured go big or
go
big.
Go big.
Which is what we're going to do.
It works for me.
I would like to teach you how to use some product today and have you take home a piece.
Okay. That sounds phenomenal.
So that whenever you look at it, you can no longer say, I am not a crafter / arter.
This is good. Like, this is so meaningful.
I think so, yeah. Which is why I wanted to get that transfer there.
Perfect.
That says, what does it say? We rise by lifting others, because when I see this, it reminds me of you and what you're doing and being a part of the community and bolstering others. So I think that's important for you to be reminded.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. I think that's perfect. So, so what are we going to do?
So
how does this work?
Sure. So what you're working with is an actual silk screen transfer.
Okay.
And so you'll find that these are actually sticky, like stickers.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And so when you pull it back, you'll see the screen.
I see the screen. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so it allows you to use many different products. For example, this
I see. Okay, yeah.
is a chalk paste. So you can use this color application on your silk screen.
Okay.
It also can be used with etching cream.
Okay.
Which is this bottle over here that you like so much. And so we'll be able to do a little bit of both in your project today.
Beautiful.
And you're gonna come out of here knowing how to use it all.
This is gonna be great. I'm very excited. Okay. Fun.
So what I like to do is whenever I'm using a new transfer, especially on glass, because when you have sticky situations with glass situations, it really, really likes to mate and stick.
Okay.
And so what I find is when I do glass projects with my transfers, I actually fuzz them.
Okay.
And so I'll just get a more of a linen type of cloth, even a microfiber works.
Okay.
And so I'll take my transfer off of the backing, like so.
Like so. Those big old gorgeous nails.
Goodness gracious.
Make it hard to do. Oh, it's hard to be a woman sometimes.
Sometimes it is. You got your corner?
I got it. Oh, not quite. See, this is why I don't craft. I can't even get the backing off properly.
I'll show you why I do what I do.
Yeah.
So this new guy, I always take a corner and I fold him in. And I call him my helper.
That makes sense.
Yep. And so, for example, if you were to go back with your backing, you just take your little helper.
Right. Nice.
And it's so helpful.
I like it.
So you'll take your transfer and you'll put it on your cloth.
Okay.
And smooth it
out.
out. Make sure that it gets a nice mating surface on your cloth.
Okay.
And you only have to do that like once, maybe twice.
Okay.
And so you'll just take your
Peel
helper.
it up?
Yep, and you'll peel it right off your cloth.
Okay.
And then you can reposition it another
Do it a different way.
and do it again.
Okay. And this just helps it so it can come off of the glass easily.
Because when you're dealing with these stretchy transfers in glass, sometimes you can actually stretch your transfer if you don't prep it.
That makes sense.
And so I appreciate the fact that the manufacturer says that these transfers are good for up to 15 times.
Oh, wow.
But I have books that they've been original to me doing this over a year, and I've used them an easy 20, 30 times.
Wow.
But I don't say that, I don't promote that.
Right.
But caretaking techniques, are very helpful when you want to keep your transfers for a long time.
That makes sense. Okay. Now what are we doing?
Sure. So you'll take your bottle, and you can lay it on the side if you like, so it's easier to access.
Okay.
And since you have a nice straight edge, you can match your edge with your bottle.
Does it matter where it goes?
It does not.
I guess I can place it
Just
however
like
I want to.
Yes.
Just like that.
Yes.
I'm a professional. Already.
So this is a silicone tool, and I like to use it especially when you have a lot of scripted words.
Oh, okay.
So you'll find that you might want to take the transfer up just a little bit to that point. Yep. And then you'll push the air out.
Got you.
And then, for example, you might find a spot, like right around here on the edge, where you need to give it some encouragement, we'll say.
Some gentle encouragement.
Some gentle encouragement.
Okay.
Just right there around the edge.
Just right there around the edge, because it's only this open area.
Correct.
So it's only this area right here that the actual chalk paint is going to go through, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So what do we do, because it's curved? How do we?
Yep. And so if it's curved, you can just start right from the bottom. And sometimes if I have a larger transfer, I'll take my scissors and I'll do a small little snip.
That way you get it. That makes sense.
But this guy seems to be doing okay, so we'll just keep encouraging him.
It's fine. It's my first time.
It is.
This is gonna be so much better than my filleted salmon. I tell you what.
You filleted a salmon?
I did, with Trish from Fish from Trish.
Oh, I bet that was such a fun one.
We had the best time until she gave me a knife and a salmon.